today we're talking about enhancing employee performance with a growth mindset. I think that by nature, we may have a fixed mindset, and that's from our amygdala brain, which is a survival brain and lives in the back of our brain, around this fear of change and of resistance to something different. Like, the way it is now is tolerable, so let's not change anything. And, there's a saying, you get what you tolerate. Growth mindset is really about embracing a possible future that has a likelihood of being better, more exciting, higher performance, but also the possibility of failure. And people with a growth mindset, they have courage. There might be fear, but it's not necessarily, adverse to failure. And I was, the other day thinking about how much I fail in life, and part of that's why I'm successful. And there's a Michael Jordan clip where he talks about all the points he missed and all the shots he missed and all the games he lost and all the end of game shots that he lost to lose games. And that's why he was so successful. And according to research, 70% of employees with a growth mindset reported being more willing to embrace challenges. And that's natural. It's saying, hey, I want to grow, right? I don't want to just be stagnant. And organizations fostering a growth mindset culture saw 34% increase in employee performance. Now, what does this mean? It means higher profits. It means higher employee engagement, employee satisfaction, retention, customers being happier, customers staying on longer. And what is normally lacking for companies, because there's so many things to do, is a solid people strategy, which includes a growth mindset. And that's why I got my dear mentor here, Amber Fidler, to share with us what do we see as the biggest challenges and what are the opportunities, actionable initiatives to foster a growth mindset. So let's jump into it, Amber. What do you think?
So I have studied a lot of work done by Dr. Carol Dweck, as I know Nadab has as well. And she wrote a book called Mindset, which was just so amazing to read. The research that she did scientifically on it is incredible. And it truly proves that if we go through life with a fixed mindset, meaning, okay, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is the best I can do, then that is truly where you will be, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas if you approach life with a growth mindset, you're thriving on challenge, you see failure as an opportunity to grow, like you said. And every time you fail, that's a springboard for growth and stretching your abilities, right? If you look at challenges like that throughout your life, whether it be early in your career, it could be in parenting, it could be in whatever you're doing, you absolutely will grow if you have that growth mindset. So it's about finding that within your team and also within yourself. I think sometimes even as leaders, we can have imposter syndrome, right? We can think okay, at some point, people around me are going to notice that I'm just trying to figure it out and I don't really know what I'm doing. I get it. We all have those moments, right? We're always telling ourselves a narrative. And what I would hear in that would be it's a limiting belief. Like you said, I'm assuming this person can't grow, can't learn, can't evolve, right? How are they going to do that? If it's your partner or whoever, that's one of the closest people to them truly doesn't believe they can get better. I would say, it depends. It's one of two things, right? If they're truly just an awful narcissist and they just don't want to ever get better, then I think you should contact me and I'll help you with your resume. But otherwise, I think you might want to reframe that and you might want to go, okay, why is it that my boss, partner, whoever is so resistant to feedback or growth or whatever, and see what part of that you can play a role in. So maybe you realize that you haven't created emotional safety and let him or her know that they can be open with you and they can tell you when they're struggling. Maybe they feel like they have to always have it together. And so they couldn't possibly let the walls crumble and let you in. That's a huge part of the partnership. That's something that Align really helped Victoria and I with. But again, for me, I think one of the most transformational parts of my career was I went to work at this little startup thinking, okay, I'm going to just do this while I go back to school, get my degree. And I had this boss, I can't explain it, but she just saw things in me that nobody had, that I thought were there. But then I would think, no, Amber, you're being crazy, you need to calm down, right? And she built that confidence in me. She told me, I believe in you, like you said, and she elevated me and she taught me things and she watched me fail and said, that's okay, let's try it again. And having that kind of person in my life, it's great when it's a boss. It doesn't have to be. You could do that for anyone that you're working with, right? If you're an employee on a team, you could exhibit that to the people on your team. You could create emotional safety so that they can see, oh, wow, this person is growing and they're always learning and they're always getting better. And I want to be like that. So I would say that's, a big piece of it, right? Is just finding those people that see something in you and also doing that for other people. I just don't want to forget because, I'm like a research lady. I put together a whole thing of resources for people just because I love this topic, as you might be able to tell. And other than like the mindset book, of course, which is amazing, and like Grit by Angela Duckworth, very, very good book about like perseverance and in growth mindset.
This is part of growth mindset, two parts. One, the ability to disagree or discuss things. For me, of course, I have had imposter syndrome in the past. And the way that I shifted it is, one, to just talk about it, right? Just talk about it and be like, I'm 25 years old. I'm running a 7-figure company. This is back in the day. I'm 42 now. I don't know what I'm doing and I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And I'm in a situation that I really should not be in because the challenges are coming on. And I think that with a line coach and with our methodology and emotional intelligence, it's really about systemizing that vulnerable sharing. And the moment that you release that energy openly, and it's really why we encourage executives to share openly, right? When we do that, often we create space for the solution. So I just wanted to chime in with that.
Yeah, that's so true. It's something that even like my business partner and I have seen, we already had a good foundation of friendship and working together, but through using a line coaching, it's actually like, we joked that it was marriage counseling for a partnership, and we would go in and it was just somebody else holding space for us to have those hard conversations and to be vulnerable in that moment. And it really helped communication and it just gave us the opportunity to say things we needed to say and talk things out. I've seen a growth mindset lead to improved business outcomes beyond just like all the touchy-feeliness of it. So, for example, I worked with a mental health company. Well, I still work with them, but back in the day, we kind of got started helping them, and they work with folks who are dealing with depression and anxiety and all kinds of mental health struggles. And everybody there has to have a very high level of empathy. They should be constantly learning. They need to be adapting to new treatment protocols. And I think there was just something lacking there. I think people were feeling stuck. So our team at Asteria HR, we introduced a bunch of workshops and some educational opportunities and some sharing opportunities aimed at, developing emotional intelligence and resilience in those teams. The emphasis was like learning from every patient interaction and viewing challenges as an opportunity to improve care, right? Because every time they would deal with maybe a really challenging patient or somebody who was just really having a bad time, you could take that and go, wow, I'm terrible at this. That guy just yelled at me, right? Or you could take it and you could go, wow, okay, that guy's really having a hard time. What did I do right? And what could I do better next time? And then maybe even do some research on it, right? Like use it as an opportunity to grow and get better. So that actually led to a noticeable improvement in their patient satisfaction scores. Team members through the process reported feeling just better equipped and more confident in handling complex patient cases. So, ultimately it improved patient care, enhanced the team cohesion, and also, job satisfaction among employees. And as we know, those things lead to higher profit.